You're now live, Chair.
Hello and welcome back. I will just run through the order of business again to those who are joining us today. First of all, the licensing officer will give his report. This is about it hasn't been written about. This is the agenda item number 4, Highland Express. First of all, the licensing officer will present the report. The members and then the applicant or his solicitor and those that have made representations may then ask questions of the licensing officer in that order. The applicant will then present their case and questions may be asked by all parties of the applicant. There is then an opportunity for those who have made representations to speak. We have one confirmed person, is Mrs. Dawn Staker, who's in attendance for us today. Finally, everyone will have the opportunity to sum up their case, starting with those that have made representations, then to the licensing officer and then to the applicant. The meeting will then end. Members will then meet privately for deliberations, and when we reach our decision, it will be circulated to all parties as soon as possible. To reiterate, each party will have an opportunity to ask questions at the appropriate time and make their own representation when asked to do so. Excuse me. Parties are reminded that representations are strictly limited to those points already raised in your retrospective written representation. You are able to expand upon those points, but you are unable to add new. You can be assured that members have read the papers before, and as a result, you are not asked to simply read your written representation. I would now like the councillors to reintroduce themselves. I am Councillor Claire Uby, and I'm chairing this. I'm chair licensing committee, and I'm chairing this meeting. I will read your names out in alphabetical order. Please, can you reply by stating your name and saying present? I will pause for a few seconds before calling each member. I call Councillor Leo Madden. I've not got my Teams open, so I can't see if you've got the microphone.
Councillor Leo Madden present.
Oh.
Sorry, I was muted, sorry.
That's fine. Councillor Lee Mason. I did just about hear you then.
Councillor Lee Mason present.
Thank you.
Yes, Rose.
Oh, is it? Is he still here? You still here, Leo?
Yeah, I'm here, but I can't hear Lee. You're all frozen now.
You're frozen to us. Lee, could you just say something so Leo can hear you?
Can you hear me, Leo?
Yes.
Right then.
I think I'll go on the phone.
Okay. Did you want us to wait for a second?
No, you carry on.
Okay. I now ask the officers to confirm that they are present as follows. Ben Attrell, Legal Advisor.
Yes, present.
Thank you. Derek Stone, Principal Licensing Officer. Oh. I think Rocky's disappeared momentarily.
I think he's on mute.
His picture's not on either. Rocky. Well, we'll give that a second. Sorry, everyone.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, but I can't see you, but that's fine. As long as we can hear you, that's close
okay, enough. You keep dropping in and out, all of you, so just bear with me if I'm a bit delayed in answering.
Okay. Leo Madden is back.
I've got a problem as well with my computer keeps trying to restart to finish installing the action program done. Yeah. So if I disappear, it's not me deliberately.
Leo, could you mute your phone?
Hello?
Oh. We've got you twice, Leo.
Okay, sorry, I don't. I've no idea. Hello?
We can hear you, Leo, but there's a raging feedback.
Yeah, I can't turn my laptop off. It's frozen.
Just close the lid. Just close the lid.
I've done that.
Oh. I apologise for the mistake.
Oh,
it's not normally.
This is ridiculous.
We've done so well today so far. We can do it. We can go. We're just waiting for Leo to adjust.
I'm taking the microphone. I'm taking the laptop out of the room.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. That's much better, Leah. Mrs. or Ms. Staker, could I ask that you put the call on mute so we don't hear you at the other side? Is that all right?
Sorry, me, Dawn Staker.
Yeah.
Sorry, you must have heard me laughing then.
No, it's fine. I agree. It's quite humorous when that happens in the meeting, but yeah, please just turn it off for the future. Thank you.
Fine, no problem.
Cool.
Thank you.
So, Robert, we were at the point where I was asking for Derek Stone. Are you still in and out, or are you there?
It's still intermittent. I'm trying to get through on my phone as well. So,
Can you see if you turn off my laptop? It's on the kitchen table. No, need to, let's just photograph of me.
Chair, I wonder if we just
turn it off.
have a couple of
It's
minutes
frozen.
to let everybody sort themselves out. perhaps?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to mute myself for 2-3 minutes. Thank you.
Poor network. Turn off video for better quality. Did it work, Michael?
Leo, you're there, but you need to put yourself on mute, please. Thank you.
Okay. Knew you reach for me.
Leo, are you able to mute yourself? Sorry, Councillor Madden, we're in meeting.
Sorry, what? Sorry, what?
Could you mute yourself? We're just waiting on Derek Stone to come back into the meeting because he's having some connectivity issues, but it shouldn't be too long.
Is now joining.
Hello, Derek. Is that you?
I'm here now, yeah.
All right, cool, brilliant. Everyone can hear him loud and clear. You're right there, Lee, Councillor Madden. Yep. We just had a good view of your bookshelf then, that was all. Cool. Right, I can proceed now because we're all here, aren't we? So I'll just start again. Can I now please ask the officers to confirm that they are present as follows. Ben Attrell, Legal Advisor.
Yes, I'm present.
Thank you. Sorry, I just lost my script. Derek Stone, Principal Licensing Officer.
Yes, I'm present.
Thank you. Joanne Wildsmith, Local Democracy Officer.
Yes, Joanne Wildsmith present.
Thank you. I will now ask the following if they are present. Mr. John Walsgrove, Solicitor for the applicant.
Present.
Is the applicant here, Mr. Walsgrove? I'd say Mr. Kumar, that's written down on my thing.
Yes, present.
Oh, hello. Hello. We've been quick with this process. We've had one representative come in. So it's Dawn Staker. Are you present?
Yes, Dawn Staker's present.
Thank you very much. So now we move to the report from Mr. Stone, Principal Licensing Officer. Over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon, members. So this hearing is in relation to an application for the grant of a premises licence for the Highland Road Convenience Store, 121 Highland Road. Members, you have my report before you, so I'll not go through that in detail. The applicant, Kumar, has applied for off-sales permission of alcohol sales from the premises, with both opening and off sales from 0600 hours to midnight 23:59. The applicant complied with the necessary provisions contained within Part 3 of the Licensing Act 2003 by way of public interest notification, and local ward councillors were also notified. The applicant has detailed in the operating schedule the steps they intend to support and promote the licensing objectives. There were no objections from any of the responsible authorities. There were, however, representations from some local residents. In total, we had 11 representations. 9 of those were names appended to a petition, and only 2 I received responses from, indicating that they wouldn't be able to attend the hearing today, but they've sent in an additional bit of information which you have had sight of, and that was from Mrs. Warren and Mrs. Jones. Members, you're required to determine their application based on the written representation and what you hear today. I've listed in my report at paragraph 5 what you must have regard to, first and foremost being the promotion of the 4 licensing objectives. Members, you know about the new provisions within the Act under paragraphs 11.1 and 11.2, which if there are issues, if this license is granted, then we can go down the route of a review if there are any problems as a result of granting that license. Members, I don't propose this anymore at this stage, but I am available should you have any questions as the hearing unfolds. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stone. Any questions from members, please? Councillor Madden.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for that presentation. Again, questions I've asked before, but you say in the report, obviously clearly well advertised, that they would not be grounds for refusing this application, because we've had lots of people actually reply as objectives. Is that correct?
Well, I missed the question, Councillor Madden. Can you say again?
Sorry. Well, if you, it's background information. Public notice has been given, so there are no grounds to refuse the application on the fact that we've done what we had to do in advising people of this application. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. Can I go again on 4? No representations have been made, again from the police, again from environmental health, from public health or whatever, in support or indeed or in objection to this application. Is that important?
Well, it's good news in as much as the responsible authorities don't have any concerns in relation to the application, if that helps.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Mason, do you have any questions? No, I do not have any questions either. We'll move on to the applicant or solicitor for the applicant, I guess, at this stage. Mr. Walsgrove, thank you. Oh, sorry, just to represent, sorry, I forgot to ask. Just, Dawn Staker, do you have any questions of the report, please?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I didn't realise that you'd had no feedback from the police or environmental health. Now, I am the resident that actually lives to the side.
We have that.
Above. Yeah, and above. Please, can you tell me then, in environmental health, how, what are their means of removing their rubbish and of their emergency access at the rear of the property?
I think that will be covered. I guess you can ask that of the applicant solicitor instead at this stage. He would have a lot more information than our licensing officer at this point. Also, it may be a planning matter. It will almost definitely be a planning matter when it comes to rubbish refuge, doesn't it? I'm waiting for Ben to nod at me. That question would be suited for Mr. Walsgrove, if that's possible, or the applicant himself. So we'll go on to the applicant's case, and you can ask again then, if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Walsgrove, would you like to start your report, please?
Just formally to confirm, I didn't have any questions for Mr. Stone, so I'll just launch straight. No, it's fine. But I thought for the record, I'll just say that.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, so in terms of the presentation, this is an application for the grant of the premises licence for consumption off the premises. It's essentially for a small convenience store at this location. I'm advised by the client that if you grant the licence today or over the course of the next couple of days, if it takes that long to make the decision, then he would fit out the shop, and it would be 6 to 8 weeks before it opens to the public. Obviously, it's a substantial investment by him to purchase the lease and then also to fit out the shop. The premises, the commercial property, has been empty for a while. With him going in and opening a convenience store, it is going to provide local employment for people. The applicant himself already operates and owns another shop, the Cost Cutter in Outram Road in Southsea, and that has a premises licence that is from 7 till midnight, Sunday to Thursdays, and on Friday and Saturdays 7 a.m. in the morning until 2 a.m. So he's a very experienced operator in dealing with exactly this sort of premises late at night, and would say, and I respectfully submit, that in relation to the concerns about what might happen late at night, that's not something which he experiences at his store in Outram Road. It's not a case that people leave local drinking establishments and then go to the off-licence or convenience stores on the way home and purchase more alcohol to consume while they're making their way home. That is, I think, a bit of an urban myth as to what people do. Obviously, convenience store is just that. The premises licence to sell alcohol is an essential part of convenience retailing. It's about being able to go to the shops and get everything under one roof. So groceries, newspapers, tobacco, alcohol, etc. He appreciates, obviously, being a licence holder already in your area, the privilege it is to hold a premises licence. And as I've said, he's had to make a substantial investment in this property. And I would respectfully suggest that that actually should give the committee some confidence that it's not going to be an operation which has any adverse effect on the licensing objectives, because he knows anybody at any time can review his licence, and if it were granted and then taken away from him, that would have a massive effect on his business, so much so that in fact a convenience store probably wouldn't be able to operate financially. The hours, of course, that's why they're called convenience stores. It's to allow people who don't have a regular 9 to 5 job to be able to go to the shops at a time that suits them and not necessarily suits the shopkeeper, because shopkeepers, of course, would love to only have a limited window of operating hours. But of course, a lot of people work late into the evening, and that's why the application has been for a licence for 6 a.m. in the morning until midnight each day. Reference by residents has been made to a number of other convenience stores in the area, and of course, you know, as an experienced committee, that need is not a relevant factor. So it's not a case of saying, well, we've already got sufficient convenience stores, we don't need another one. That's not right. It's only to do with the licensing objectives. But having looked and asked my client, looked at the competition, for want of a better word, around the area, and certainly within a half a mile of a premises, there are a number of other convenience stores. And in fact, having looked at the list my client provided, I then looked at the register online of Portsmouth City Council, and the Southern Cooperative stores, so there's one at Highland Road, there's one at Winter Road, at Devonshire Square. Those Southern Cooperative stores, they have licences from 6 AM until midnight, as does the Tesco Express in Albert Road. Their premises licence is also 6 until midnight. And the other convenience stores have licences until 11 PM. Now, I'm sure you will be aware, but the residents probably won't be, of the Section 182 guidance issued by the Secretary of State under the Licensing Act. And I draw your attention to paragraph 10.15 of that guidance, which specifically deals with shops. And this is guidance that the government issue that local authorities are obliged to take into account. So the Licensing Act actually says each committee should take into account their own policy, but also the Section 182 guidance, and give equal weight to both. And paragraph 10.15 of that guidance says that shops should normally be free to provide sales of alcohol for off sales at any time when they're open, unless there's good reasons based on the licensing objectives to restrict those hours. And we say there is no evidence or credible evidence which would suggest the need to restrict the hours for the sale of alcohol outside of the opening hours, which would be 6 until midnight. Now, as Mr. Stone alluded to, there are no representations from responsible authorities, and that is a significant point, because again, the Section 182 guidance, which Mr. Stone has referred to in your papers, does say that you should attach weight to the views of responsible authorities, so the police in particular in relation to crime and disorder, and environmental health in relation to public nuisance. They haven't made any representations. Certainly we had a discussion with the police and with the licensing officer regarding the hours before we submitted the application. So we sought their views on whether there would be any concerns if we applied for a licence between 6 and midnight, and the police confirmed in that pre-application advice that they wouldn't raise any concern. They wouldn't want an application to have been submitted any later than midnight, and that's why those hours were chosen. In relation to the representations, nothing is mentioned about the applicant or any ability for him to operate his shop, and as I've said, he's already got the Outram Road and will be putting in the same due diligence procedures into this shop. So CCTV will be inside the store, and Kumar has also confirmed that there would be a camera outside of the premises, which would enable him to monitor the situations which have been raised, one about queuing regarding COVID and the other about whether homeless persons hang around the vicinity of the premises. So both things which will be managed well by him. In addition to CCTV, as you would expect, he operates a Challenge 25 procedure. His staff will all be trained. There'll be records of training. He'll have the usual refusal log in place to prove his due diligence that staff are making appropriate challenges. It seems to me from the representations that there is a challenge to this opening up as a shop, whether it's selling alcohol or not. And that again is really not a relevant factor to the licensing objectives. So if you didn't grant the license, the premises is likely in any event to open up as a convenience store, just not one which can sell alcohol, and it will open between 6 and 12. And our view and respectful submission would be in relation to the number of visitors to the shop. It's unlikely to make much of a difference in terms of numbers coming to the shop, whether the premises licence has in place or not. Though we do accept, because of convenience retailing, if alcohol is missing, the number of customers will certainly be slightly less than normal. But it is expected, Mr. Kumar expects it to draw its customer base from the local residents around. It's not expected to be a destination store that people are going to drive to. And in any event, I would say the issues they've raised around parking would not really be a relevant consideration as to whether it should have a premises license or not. That's a planning issue as to whether it should be a shop, not whether it should sell alcohol or not. And just in relation to the last point that Mistake mentioned about rubbish and the emergency exit, I don't believe those issues were raised in any of the representations. I don't have any instructions in relation to that, but Kumar may be able to say how he intends to store and dispose of his rubbish. But what I would say is neither factor, in my view, is directly linked to the licensable activities that would take place at the premises and wouldn't, in my view, be relevant to your consideration. But I'll invite Kumar in a moment just to see whether he can answer that point. In relation to the petition, which a few people have signed, I'm going to suggest to you that you should not attach a great deal of weight to it. Yes, of course, you can take it into account, but unfortunately the person that arranged that petition is not present, and I would have wanted the opportunity to ask them questions, particularly how many people they asked to sign the petition who haven't signed it, because obviously this is a densely residential area, and with respect to the person that's arranged the petition, there are not that many households who have signed it. And in addition to that question, also about what conversations took place, because my experience of people collecting petitions is that they often expand upon points made that's actually set out in the sort of preamble to the request for their signature. And sometimes that missing information can be persuasive for people to sign. And unless we're able to ask them what they actually said to people and how they encouraged them to sign the petition, that's why I say not much weight could be given to it. And the final point I'll make in the representation is, for want of repeating Mr. Stone, is about the position on reviews of premises licence. It does allow a committee to apply a light touch to applications. Reviews are very quick processes, can be bought at any time by anybody, as long as they have credible evidence the licensing objectives are being adversely affected, and the matter could be back before a committee within 6 to 8 weeks of that application being submitted. So I do ask you to apply that light touch, attach great weight to the fact responsible authorities haven't objected, and that this is a proven responsible licensee who's already operating an off licence with longer hours than he's asked for at Highland Road. So I'll finish there. And Kumar, are you able to explain how you will deal with the rubbish that's generated from the premises, and then just deal with that for the moment, and then Ms. Staker can ask a question regarding the emergency exit, because I'm not sure what the issue is there at the moment. So if you could just, are you able to deal with the rubbish?
Yes, John. Yeah, the rubbish wise, we normally have a lot of recycled rubbish like a cardboard and a polythene. So that's my wholesaler. Once he deliver the things, and they take all the rubbish, all the recycled rubbish back in the same cages. And the normal waste, I would like to go for a local rubbish collection for one black bag in a week. So that's the normal rubbish, like, you know, so not a recycled one, like a cardboard and things. My wholesaler take them back for recycling. and the waste from our side, like a counter side, like a normal local waste. That's I like to go for the local rubbish collection for once in a week. Yeah.
And would your rubbish be stored in the premises until it was collected?
The cardboard.
And do you have any other waste other than the recyclable waste?
We probably are going to have one bin behind the counter.
So there's no need to have bins outside the premises. It'll be inside the premises and then collected, as you've described.
That's right. Yeah, the cardboard we keep it inside, and every week, once in a week, we leave the bin outside. The day when they're collecting, so we can leave on the morning.
Thank you. If I leave the representation there, and then either myself or Kumar can deal with any questions, and obviously Mistake had a question about the emergency exit, which I can't deal with until I know what the issue is. Thank you, councillors.
Okay, thank you. It'll be councillors' questions first, and we'll go through. Councillor Mason, you're speaking to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First, I'll ask both questions at the same time and can get the answer. On page 162, it mentions there's no soundproofing between the shop and the flat above. Is that something that is planned to be done during the works? Also, on the plan Appendix B on page 157, I can't see any storage areas. So I think that's what the question was about. Everything. I don't know if there is storage, it's just not on the plans that we've been given. So.
Mr. Walsgrove?
In relation to the plan, that's right. It's the shop and the counter, and you've heard from Kumar that the waste is reasonably minimal, and that will be kept behind the counter until collected. The other point was about soundproofing. I'm not sure there will be any need to have soundproof works for a retail premises for people just coming into shop, because the level of the noise is not going to be such to disturb the upstairs premises. Of course, if it were, and I'm saying it won't, but if it were, environmental health of course have sufficient powers under the Environmental Protection Act to deal with the issue of noise nuisance from the business to the residential properties, and that would be the most appropriate way to deal with this premises, because as I said, whether you grant the license or not, it will be a shop. So the issue of whether there's a noise transference from a commercial property upstairs is an issue which should be dealt with under the Environmental Protection Act. What I'm not sure about was what the premises was before. I don't know whether Kumar, you know what business operated there before it closed down, because of course they would have had people coming and going just as a shop would. Kumar, do you know what business it was before it closed?
Yeah, I think the nail shop used to be a nail shop.
A nail bar.
Nail bar, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a beauty shop. It was a beauty shop.
Sorry, yeah. Thank you. Ben Attrell, you had your hand up. Well, I think John's answered it.
Yes, that's right. I was just going to address the point to say that the actual licensable activity, which is the sale of alcohol, is unlikely to add any significant noise to what would ordinarily be entirely be permissible anyway in terms of a convenience store. But Mr. Walsgrove did go on to deal with that. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Did you have any further questions, Councillor Mason? No. Councillor Madden, questions?
Yeah, thank you very much. I've got a question, Mr. Kumar, but one to Mr. Walsgrove first. But just taking notes, that's all. I may have got it wrong. But before you put the application in, I'm not sure whether you verbally spoke with the police and licensing, or whether you had a meeting with them or not. But the only thing that the police asked, or they may have objected to, was if there was the liquor license or the alcohol license was extended beyond midnight. Is that correct? You actually had meetings with them?
I had email correspondence and a telephone call.
Thank you. Could I ask Mr. Kumar about you have another premise, we were told, another in Outram Road, I think you said, Mr. Walsgrove, I can't remember. I can't read my own writing. Can you tell us, one, how long you've had those premises? And I'm assuming, I think I'm doing convenience store. And secondly, whether you have any complaints about any of the activities there in or outside the building?
Sorry, say that again, the first question.
The first question is, how long have you been running that business?
From 2015 December.
Okay, about 5 years, yeah?
5 years plus, yeah.
And have you had any complaints from anybody about the workings either inside the building or outside the building? Rubbish or whatever, I mean.
We had issues like on the first couple of years because this is new for us, the area. So we used to know the customers and things. Then once after 2 years, then we all under control. Like we know we haven't had any much issues, but yeah, no, really, we haven't had any much issues. And the police, local police, they come and ask us for the support and the camera. We have outside CCTV camera for if any incident happen outside. So we record the clips and they give it to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's. Thank you. Thank you.
Can I just add to that point? Kumar doesn't mean incidents at his premises outside. It's incidents from people walking home from other establishments that they're doing things they shouldn't be doing, and his cameras sometimes picks that up.
Cool. Okay, I guess I'll ask the question then. Mr. Walsgrove, and it might be from Mr. Kumar as well, you mentioned that you're hoping to open the property within 6 to 8 weeks. I know it's no bearing on the license, but I was checking the planning portal for the shop, and it's currently under a sui generis. As far as I'm aware, it needs to convert to it's more of a Class E because they're changing the planning things. Or an A1 at least? Is this not happening, or is it happening? Could you explain it to me, please?
My understanding is that it's permitted development, so it can change to an A1 retail use without the need for a planning application.
But would it have to submit the application in order to say it's permitted development, so the council are aware that it is changing?
No, the planning laws have changed, and there are certain classes that you can change the business premises to without the need of any planning application. So, for example,
I thought it was just office premises. That was all. Sorry, I didn't know.
I've done applications where pubs have been converted to shops, and you're allowed to go from A3 and A4 use to A1 use without an application to the local authority. It's permitted in development, which means it's granted by statute.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up for me, because obviously I did look on the planning portal and it did throw me a little bit. I would address the deputation over the rubbish, but like you said, it would be covered under the environmental health. Mr. Kumar brought up a point saying that he'd swap his cardboard with his suppliers, but he'd have 1 bag of rubbish a week outside his premises. Is he allowed to do that?
No, this is from the local rubbish collection people. Once in a week they collect. We pay for the commercial waste collection.
Yeah, from what you said, I thought you were just waiting for the city delivery, not commercial waste. That's fine. That's clear.
So we pay for the commercial waste.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Thank goodness. Any other questions, councillors? No. Mrs. Staker, do you have any questions of the applicant or his solicitor?
Yes, I do. First of all, I'd like to say that the reason why the other 2 people that recently sent you emails are not attending today is, unfortunately, Brenda is no good with technology, so she just can't do it. If I was at home, she would have come online with me. Unfortunately, I'm on holiday. So that's how I'm doing it. That's how I'm doing it. The other local resident, she's actually at nursery this afternoon with her young son, which brings me on to say that this is a residential area. There's a brand new tenant which is now moved in.
I need questions. You can speak in a minute. I just need a question first, and then you can say what you want in 2 minutes' time. I just need questions if you've got them with the applicant. Sorry.
Right. Okay. Sorry.
That's all right.
Questions to the as far as the rubbish is concerned, if it's kept in his premises, there's no problem at all. It's a problem if it's outside. If it's outside, it would be a fire risk. It's immediately backs onto our premises. There is no way he can, if a fire takes place, they can't get out of the premises and go anywhere.
I think that's acknowledged, and my client said that won't happen. So just to give you that reassurance.
What, that there won't be a fire, or the rubbish won't be stored out there?
There won't be rubbish outside.
Okay, that's fine then. I haven't got a problem with that. Soundproofing, I have a big problem with. I do have a big problem. Even when you open the front door of the shop, whatever it would be, we can hear it upstairs. Well, it's upstairs. Our front room is above the shop. Our kitchen is adjacent to the shop. So we can hear you.
We need a question. Is it a question?
A question.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say?
No, it's all right.
I don't have any questions.
So you don't have questions, right? 2 seconds. No. We'll come straight back to you. I just got to do the talking, and then you can do your representation. I do apologise.
Thank you.
2 seconds. Sorry. Okay. Derek Stone, do you have any questions of the applicant at all? No. I'm saying that was a no. Are you right there, Ben? Sorry, I can see everyone on the screen. That's fine. I can't hear Derek. Have he disappeared?
I'm here. I have no questions.
Wicked. Thank you. We'll now move on to the representations. Dawn, you can bring up your representation now. So basically, there are some rules. You have to cover what you've covered in your own deputation that you've written, I've got your email up now. Obviously it's a lengthy deputation. You can't stray away from the main points that you've made, but you can elaborate on those points during it. So if you do get carried away, I will stop you. But you have unlimited time, and then we can ask questions after that. Thank you.
Okay. We have lived there for almost a year. We've lived above and beside the shop for almost a year, which has been empty. Fully aware that it will be a shop. I can't tell you, but it was almost going back to be a beauty shop before COVID. Okay. What was in my email? It was a long time ago. It's a residential area. There are young children to each side. Each side. So all I'm saying to you is, it's all young, very young families around there. I've been told that parking is not an issue. You obviously don't know the area very well, because it's a horrendous problem parking there. If anyone should stop outside, well, they won't be able to for most of the day. What else was in my email? Sorry, I haven't got it with me. I'm away. I'm not at home.
That's if you say, I've got it open. So if you say something wildly different to what you said, I'll just say that it's not in your email. It's fine. Everything you've brought up is in your email.
Okie dokie. We've done the fire, done the rubbish, residential area. The opening from 6 a.m. till 12 a.m. It will generate people to go into the shop at that time, any time of the day. 18 hours for a shop to be open in a residential area, that's quite something. Well, I think anyway. But then I've never lived next to a convenience store. I don't know what I've put all my views in the email that you have seen, and for the local people that live around there. we're not happy about it being a convenience store. I'm quite happy for it to be anything else, to be quite honest, apart from a shop that opens 18 hours a day with young families around and everything else that can attract it with a business that has a alcohol license for that time. There's nothing else I can say.
No, thank you for taking time out of your holiday to come to this meeting today. On the back of that, I do have a question myself for John Walsgrove and the applicant. When you mentioned other premises in the area were open from 6 to midnight for booze, all those shops actually shut at 11 o'clock or open later than 6. I'm going to ask this of John. Does the applicant have an opening schedule that he's willing to abide to? Like, is it going to be 7 to 11, or is he going to open 6 a.m. till 12 a.m.?
It will be open 6 till 12.
Thank you. Members, do you have any questions for Mrs. Staker?
No, I don't. No, I don't have any further questions. No.
Oh no, I was going to ask if anyone wanted to ask you a question at this point. Honestly, it's fine. I remember my first licensing meeting. Mr. Walsgrove, do you have any questions for the representation?
No, thank you, Chair.
Okay, Derek Stone, do you have any questions?
No, I have no questions.
Okay, thank you. At this point, if everyone is satisfied, we shall move to summing up, and we will start with you, Dawn. You don't have to sum up if you don't want to, because you did make your points quite clear at this point, but this is the last time you'll be able to speak at this meeting. No, so if you needed to hammer something out, do it right now.
Right. I don't have anything else to say. Sorry, I don't have anything else to say.
That's fine, thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you for your time today. Mr. Stone, would you like to sum up?
No, nothing further to add, thank you.
Thank you.
Dawn Staker.
Oh, she's just gone.
Is now exiting.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Walsgrove, do you have anything to add? To sum up?
Just wondering whether we should wait to see if she dials in, or should we just finish?
She assumed it was over because I said it was the last opportunity that she had to speak. Do you know what I mean? And that she went back.
Yeah. Okay.
Ben.
I think in which case, as she's not here,
she did say that she said everything that she wanted to say.
Yeah. I'm not going to sum up because then there can be no question that anything else was said. So I'll not sum up.
Okay. Ben, are you happy with that? Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. It's up to you, Chair, whether you want to just wait a minute or two just to make sure it wasn't unintentional. But I think it's likely that what you say is true, that she gained the impression that that was it.
Bless her, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm hard with this kind of situation that people don't really come across these situations. So when you're thrown into a meeting, you're like, what is going on? And obviously might have been slightly overwhelming, and it is overwhelming in a licensing meeting, especially if you're doing it over your phone, you're on holiday, and we're doing it virtually.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's up to you, Chair, whether you want to just wait a minute or if you're happy to just carry on. It's entirely up to you.
I'm happy to. Oh, yes, sorry, I had a message come through. Joanne was messaging Peter Smith Parker. I'm happy to carry on because I don't think she's coming back, with members agreeing with that. Yeah. So are you choosing not to sum up, Mr. Walsgrove, but you did make your points?
I am, because then she hasn't missed anything.
That's fine. I really appreciate that as well. Thank you very much. I will finish my scripts. So now we've summed up. I'd like to thank everyone for their time today, and that concludes the formal part of our meeting for this application. Members of the committee, along with the legal advisor, will now meet with the members to undertake their deliberations and make their decision. The decision will be sent in writing to all parties as soon as possible. So thank you for attending today. Can we just take 5 minutes, because my husband's just come through the door and I haven't seen him, and he's just got the kids, so I just want to speak to him screen for 5 seconds before he disappears again. So just 5 minutes and I'll meet you on the exempt stream. Thank you.
Yeah.
See you again soon.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
very much.
See ya.
Bye.